Thank you. And we could talk on this for a long time, but we've got a lot of topics we want to cover. So we're going to move to foreign oil. The United States is seeking opportunities to reduce dependence on foreign oil. Congress has made recent commitments to invest in new technologies to complement our existing oil and coal-based energy infrastructure. What are your views on energy policy, and how would you expand our domestic resources for oil and gas to enhance our nation's security? And Michelle, you get to start.
Thank you. This is the issue of our time, other than obviously the issue that we're dealing with, the economy. America needs to be energy independent, and in America we have engaged in what's considered a prohibition-era mentality when it comes to energy. We've said no to American energy independence when we have energy in abundance in this country. We're the only country in the world that said no to energy exploration. We could be free of foreign oil independence, and we must be for the sake of our national security. Do you know that we sent over $700 billion of your money overseas to pay for foreign oil in this last year? That's one of the largest wealth transfers that we've seen in the history of our nation. Instead of being at the tail on energy, we could be at the head on energy. If we would open up energy production just in Alaska and Colorado, we could create over 750,000 new jobs just in those two states. My opponent opposes drilling in ANWR. In ANWR, we have the potential of an additional 15 billion barrels of oil that we could have in the Trans-Alaska Pipeline to come down to the lower 48. We have oil in abundance in shale oil in Colorado, Utah, Nevada. We have 27% of the world's supply of coal. We have 420 trillion cubic square feet of natural gas just in the Gulf of Mexico, let alone the rest of the United States, plus wind, solar, conservation. I visited Golden, Colorado, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. I'm part of the Energy Efficiency Caucus. We here in Minnesota are so lucky we are a part of the Saudi Arabia of wind tunnel that we can continue to expand and must expand. But we need to do all of it. We need to say yes to every form of energy there is, plus conservation, plus alternatives, so we can be truly energy independent and have gas prices down and bring down the cost of energy production. That has caused groceries to go sky high and our businesses to be put at risk. That's freedom to be energy independent.
Al.
First of all, let me say, folks, blaming the Community Reinvestment Act for our financial crisis is just not credible. The University of North Carolina just did a report. Actually, the performance of loans under CRA has been 3 to 5 times as good as the loans that were given out under the high-priced subprime mortgage process. And that is simply not the case, and it tries to avoid the fact that it was deregulation that moved us into this crisis. Second, in terms of energy, this is a critical issue, and I'm proud of the fact that so many things are going on right here in the 6th District that are moving us forward. But in spite of everything that Representative Bachmann says about all of the resources here, that are here, in terms of oil, we have 3% of the proven oil reserves in this country. We consume 25% of the daily production of oil in the world. We are not going to change the price structure of oil on the basis of what we have here in supply, but we can in terms of what we do here in consumption. The reductions that we've seen in the gas prices are not because there's been one more lease given out to the oil companies. And the idea that somehow the oil companies, if they get just a couple more leases, will flood the country with cheap oil, will undermine their own financial interests so that we can have $2 gasoline is just simply not credible. The reason gasoline prices are going down is because consumption has gone down. We have engaged in more conservation, and I suppose we could get even lower if we really ran the economy into the ground. But we need to move forward with alternatives, and while Representative Bachmann talks about the importance of alternatives, she voted against extending the tax credits that go to wind and solar. She voted against the bill that contained improvements in biofuels and advancing next generation of biofuels. The only place that she has voted for has been the tax credits that go to the oil industry, $18 billion a year that continue to pour into the oil industry in this country at a time of record profits.
I voted against the energy bill that was the no energy bill, because the bill that the Democrats put forward last year didn't contain one new drop of oil nor one new watt of electricity. What it did contain was incredible tax increases which would have been passed on to you at the pump at the gas station. That was not the way to go. My opponent also supports the cap and trade system on energy use, which essentially means this: you have to purchase the right to purchase energy. The cap and trade system will cost our economy $8 trillion by the year 2040. If you thought we've seen high taxes and high spending this year with the bailout, you ain't seen nothing until you get to cap and trade. That's something that my opponent supports. Also, the strong dollar has had everything to do also with bringing down the price of oil. That's been one silver lining we've seen. And the other thing that has brought the price of gasoline down is this: lifting the ban on drilling in the outer continental shelf. We have over 90 billion barrels of oil. Unfortunately, the Democrats that control the House have said that if they get back in control after this election, they will reinstate the ban on drilling on the outer continental shelf. That will probably cause your gas to go back up.
Final word, Al.
Well, you know, the folks in the administration like to talk about, the Republicans like to talk about accountability and results. Well, I think it's time for some accountability for the results. Where have we been? What's happened? This administration has got two of the leading oil people in the country at the top of it. And it's not surprising that oil is doing very well in terms of the profits and the performance. What we need to do is wrest our energy policy away from the oil industry. And this idea of going after every drop of oil in this country as fast as we can is really a drain America first strategy. It will maintain a dependence on oil, and it will mean in a decade, when we have started using up those few resources we have left, we will be importing 80% of our oil instead of just 70%, and we won't have moved forward with an aggressive strategy to create renewables and alternatives and to build on efficiency and conservation. That's the strategy that Representative Bachmann is proposing.